Hiddo has had a very, very good split, particularly if he's able to get that Xayah, and that would be good because Xayah might let him counter the engage and counter the aggression that 4th will bring, particularly with Jinwei there. Chimera, though, he's a very aggressive player himself, right? So it's not like 4th Wall are just a full one-trick team. Jinwei's had a lot of impact, but they do have a lot of pieces there that have come together around Jinwei to be able to make this work. You can't just leave it on him. And the question is whether Omon and Indecision's aggression in this game is going to be the good kind or the bad kind. Because, like, I keep thinking about that Omon Ari game. That was one of the best games from any mid laner we've seen this split. He pulls off a repeat of that sort of thing. Could be really, really good. And it looks like one of Lissandra or Nico's going to be up for Jinwei. Though I feel like this is a guy who could pull off Orianna, who could pull off Seraphine. But that's unknown right now. And I want to see him tested a bit more. I want to see him potentially come into playoffs as a one-trick. And for everybody looking at home, right? Like, looking at this is a pretty bad situation for our losers from the last game, right? Both teams are at 4 right now. One of them's going to move up to 5 and start to think about challenging Ruddy, right? You want to make sure, to be honest, that either the 4th Wall project fails or that Nord definitely stay on a downward spiral, because if you're a Domino fan, they have to beat one of these two teams, so they're going to be looking very carefully. And you want to talk about Jinwei's engage, that would be an insane combo to follow up on from anything Jinwei pulls out.
Yeah, as we have had a few picks revealed to us. I think the Rel fits into the sort of style that Seneca has been playing. I think he was a big Nautilus guy, and the Rel is kind of just Nautilus, but more at this point. And Kai'Sa, she's doing pretty good for herself as well. Nord, though, I think drafting something that we don't really see too much in terms of this Ashe Fox drop.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that's probably jungle Rel, no? If you slap down the Rakan, then you're putting Rel into the jungle. So Indecision is going to be picking that one up, which to me is a little bit surprising. So I think of Indecision more as like a not like a squishy jungle player, but more like a sort of like a carry jungle player. Obviously, like
it's sort of like bridge stuff, like Wukong as well.
Yeah, exactly. So not the dog champions, basically, which Rel is indisputably a dog champion. So he's on that duty to this game. I would be quite interested to see as well, though, because we haven't seen a lot of Rel jungle. Obviously, it was Rel's mini reworked, got really good as a jungler, then got nerfed, then got buffed again, and it's all over the place, but still pretty solid as kind of that tank jungler, more like utility focus. Just as you would imagine, I'm sure it's pretty easy to picture what kind of jungler Rel would be. Is going to get matched by the Nautilus from Chimera on the other side. We're talking about his aggression. Nautilus is a very, very aggressive champion, tanky, so can go into the dive into with the engages, but the Kai'Sa to follow that up as well with the Sejuani. Like, everyone's just going bam straight on forward. And you started by bringing me into this conversation talking about Ashe. How much is she gonna hate her life against that? She's gonna struggle big time.
Probably as much as Veteran when he's trying to listen to her voice lines. It's just
God.
generally
Actually, I'm gonna be
not
so happy.
It's not going to be enjoyable at all. But looking at the identities from both these teams, it's very, very clear what they want to do. They both want to start fights on each other. They've both got the tools to do that. And as we're coming through the second phase of bans, we're seeing 4th Wall taking away a few of those engaged top laners and Nord removing that Lissandra. Key to see that taken off the board. I'm wondering if we're going to see a Nico next, or if that one's going to be opened up for Jinwei's.
It's also a really good composition to just lock Orianna, though, right? It's a really good ball delivery system. A lot has to be said. Nautilus is a good pick to control something. Nico will be up. It is nerfed, though. It's going to be a good pick to control something like the Rakan, but it's also a comfort pick for Chimera, right? Last time we saw Chimera just absolutely going for it, it was on that Nautilus. So good synergies, good comfort as well. They feel like they can go into the Nico. The Azir ban made me think maybe they look to do Nico themselves. Looks like they're going to play it safe. They're going to go Cassandre here. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Renekton paired with this Rel to go into that Cassandre now. And it's going to be a counter pick for Chimera. We'll see where it is, right? I think they need damage, so it's unlikely to be something like a Seraphine. But I'm just trying to think of players I know that fall into this kind of mold. The player that I'm actually thinking of, which might be surprising people, is actually the mid laner for G2 Hell, Tifu, has a very similar champ pool and very similar skill set to Jinwei, and she would go into the Orianna Seraphine here. That's kind of how I'm modeling him right now. Jace has been locked in, does increase the chances for an Orianna. You need some damage. The Kennen, though, I see Foxdrop's eyebrows have been raised by that slam.
Yeah, I love that double slam down of Ken and Jace, like two solo laners of just pure aggression, nothing tanky there, just like aggressive, just squishy, go for it, damage.
No way.
And for me, it's the Ashe, Rakan, Kennen 1, 2, 3. Like I just think that's beautiful. It is going to be the Nico though, slap down for Jinrei. Doesn't get his Cassandra, gets one of his other signature champions. Very, very good on this pick. As you mentioned, has been nerfed, but still should be fairly good. I'm not sure how the matchup will be against Jace though, because Nico's range is. I mean, she has good range with her abilities, but as far as outside of that, and it's her abilities that got nerfed, right? Her ability to shove in constantly with that Q, like, it might be a little bit tricky in that mid lane.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of it. I actually really like AD itemization into a Nico. I like champions that can play good ranges into a Nico. And Nico's ability to bully you just off one catch in the early laning phase has been heavily diminished. I think Omon can play around this lane really well. I think Omon has the, as Foxdrop aptly put it, dog jungler, or I like to call her engage Poppy, so I guess it depends how you think of Poppy. Into that matchup, I think Jinrei's going to struggle here, and this could end up being maybe Jinrei is a two-trick here, right? Maybe you can control him onto these sorts of champions, the Lissandra, the Nico, and just get a better matchup for yourself. Or Jinrei truly comes into his own this game and says, yeah, maybe I have a shallow champ pool, but believe me, I can bust this out into anything you can go to me. I'll step to that. Composition is good, but we're really looking at that mid jungle. That's always being an issue for Nord, right? They need to make the mid jungle work. They have all the tools to make it work. They have good matchups to make it work in. But maybe Jinrei does actually turn out to be the monster that we're hyping up to me.
We'll have to see if the church is going to be in session. Obviously, there are other players on fourth wall, even if veteran may imply otherwise. And I think this is going to be a big game for Yute, all right, on this Sejuani, because he really is going to be a main brunt of the engage. Yes, Chimera is going to be able to provide a load of pick here on the Nautilus, but in terms of champions that want to be standing directly in front of you, it's kind of just that Sejuani with Faye on the Cassante, more looking for flanks and that such a thing. So I really want to keep an eye on how he's doing in the early stages, and especially what he's doing in team fights to be as effective as he can.
Yeah, I think unlike the first game we saw where we described, was it Shackle? I think he was playing when he was on the Gragas. He had just like the pick of the litter across the whole board. He could go anywhere he wanted to go. I think for you, it's a little bit different. Like matching up with, I mean, you can CC layer with Nico and do some good damage there, but you know when you got Cassante in the top side as well, like. Nothing is like massively compelling, and if these lanes play out the way that Nord want them to play out, you should have, I would imagine, losing top and mid lane. So that can be a little bit tricky to make things happen there, depending on the poke that comes through, especially like Kennen and Jace can throw down a lot of damage. And for me, just as a side note for you, this is their, I think, 11th game they're playing here. I think in total it's 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I made that up, but that's good. And this is his 8th unique champion. So he's just like, if we're talking about how Jinrei is maybe not having the widest champion pool, it's like Lissandra and Nico. Ute is the complete opposite of that. This guy just picks down whatever it is, whatever he thinks might help his team. And yeah, very, very diverse set of skills for that champion pick.
And I guess if we want to zoom out a little bit further and look at these compositions as a whole, veteran, I think last game we had this very clear idea of how the game was going to work. If Domino weren't able to accelerate through the early stages, natives could kind of just wait them out and beat them in the team fights later, and that's exactly what happens. Do we feel like there's a time pressure on either of these teams to get stuff going in the early stages? Maybe not to the same degree as Domino, but still need an early lead to get their composition working.
It's not to the same degree, but Nord would definitely be in that Domino category for this game, right? Yeah. They want to play out their lane bullies. They would prefer not to get into an even fight, because like Foxtrot was saying earlier, this Ashe ain't going to enjoy life if that Nico hasn't been adequately punished, right? That Nico's going to slam on top, that Nautilus is going to slam on top, that Kai'Sa's going to slam on top. They have all the tools to control you. You don't want to give them the ability to close range on you, but if you put them behind, they're going to have to take damage to close that range on you, and if they don't have adequate items to be able to make fast plays, they're not going to be able to do that. So that's the win con on the side of Nord here. You know, just make sure that you're accelerating, and then Forfall will not be able to tank and still be able to do damage into you, because it's much more of an even draft setting in those 5-on-5s than it was before. You can also see a massive play from Catch Coast, by the way. Like, people forget about the Kennen until the Kennen presses R and just insta-gives 5 of your people late game. He's still that kind of monstrous champion. You could easily see the game turn from a really good Kennen flank, because even though Forfall have this kind of composition that does well in 5-on-5s, one little bit of a misstep in vision and Kennen could turn the whole thing and twist the game into Nord's favour. Much more even than before.
And so if we're looking towards the bottom side of the risk, last game we saw an AD build coming out from Den Voxnate on the Kai'Sa. Jinray walking very far forward here. That's not a clone. That's a pretend Nico. That's first blood coming down for Nord.
Oh dear, and it's the Ashe, the ADC that picks it up as well. One of the best champions you would imagine just to pick that down. Only blowing the Ghost as well, so not a huge amount invested. The flash, I guess, from the Rel, but yeah, that's
just
rough.
rough. And,
that is rough.
Well, I mean, the good thing is Jinray does have the ability to revive himself, to come back to life. Obviously, not going to take 3 days, and he is going to be able to make it back to lane in time to pick up that XP. But like you're saying, giving Hido the lead on this Ashe can be really punishing, especially with how much chase down potential this champion has.
Ashe is mega spooky with some early lead as well. Like people underestimate her lane bully potential. Like, she can be really, really scary. You know, those volleys are nothing to scoff at all. And also, bearing in mind that Ragnar has locked in the cleanse as his summoner choice, which I think is very smart. Obviously, it means later on you can cleanse out the charm, the Ashe arrow, maybe like the Kennen stun or something like that. There's a lot of uses for cleanse, and I do think it was pretty much a no-brainer to slap down, but it means you do lack that combat summoner for these early fights, just like this. No heal, no exhaust, no nothing. It'll be really hard for you to find your footing in this lane.
Yep, and Hido can extend on these trades here because Indecision has made the decision to play super hard to bot side. So Chimera is going to get punished.
Omen's just died in mid lane. We are going to have a dive in the bottom lane. Level 2 hit for Chimera and Ragnar, and that means it's an overstep from Seneca. Taragro actually going to be juggled off. Indecision taking the shots. Ragnar still alive. Everyone else on Nord. Blinking health bars. Chimera able to get that one with the root. Seneca flashing away. But that went disastrously for Nord in the bottom lane.
Wait, 2 for 2.
Yeah, Omen died mid. So while that was all happening, Omen got ganked mid by Ute. And then Ute died because it was like they had finished it off with a tower dive. So Omen went 1 for 1 in the gank mid. And then that happened in bot as well. That was a whole kerfuffle of things. And Ute's going for the return gank here. Omen's pushed up pretty far, but he does smell that something's wrong. Won't be overextending just yet. And oh man, that dive just that was ugly. That was not pretty at all. If Forfall would stayed level 1, it was great, great play. But they did level up, and unfortunately, it's ruined everything for Nord.
Just leveled up, gained access to our abilities. I think the thing for Nord though is you look at where those kills have actually happened and where they're actually going. Omen with 1, Hido with 1. For fourth wall, you got a kill on a Sejuani, kill on a Nautilus. That's good, but maybe not as optimal.
And Forfall have gotten really good resets on their lanes, so right, the next play available on bot lane is going to be for Forfall unless it's a repeat of the dive from Nord, and the next play available from the midsection is going to be for Jinray because Omen has no teleport, so Jinray's going to be able to push out the next wave if Omen wants to be able to match this back and try not to allow Jinray to have caught up here on economy, which he effectively has. Otherwise, the game has moved back to a really good even state for Forfall, and like we were saying before, that's really good for them. Right? That's really good for them.
Yeah, but a lane that isn't looking particularly even right now is top. Now, you would expect a Kennen to be able to get a little bit of bully potential onto a Cassante, especially with the difference in terms of range. Should it be going this badly for Faye at the moment?
Yes. That's my answer.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's Kennen who started Cull, and it's a Faye who's had to know that the entire time Ute has to be matching on bot side or the game is over. Ute was showing everywhere but top. Jinray?
Oh, gonna get caught up from Indecision over the wall, comboed with a grand entry from Seneca and the Nico. running away into her own jungle. Going to get hit by the accelerated shock blast. The CC Hido with his second kill of the game.
Yes, another one for the ADC. That's great news for Nord. Not so much for Fourth Wall. Honestly, Veteran, you've hella jinxed Jinray this game. 2 deaths already, 5 minutes in. Very suboptimal gameplay for him so far. But to be honest, just some good catches. I think that one specifically there was a really, really nice little hex flash over the wall from Indecision to catch him out of position. And all Rel being a bit of like a tanky, boring, whatever style champion, there's so much CC there, so much setup. You get caught by that, if there's any kind of collapse from their teammates, then you're in a lot of trouble, and Jinray's been feeling that so far.
And Nord have put a lot of resources into shutting down Jinray, right? These are really planned catches on Jinray's tendencies around midsection. The level 1 was just a straight up all-on invade into that mid rush. They knew who they were targeting. That one there, Indecision, going flash over the wall there for it. They knew who they were targeting, right? They know the big focal point of a lot of Fourth Wall's victories, and they know they have to shut this down, or it's going to be very difficult for Hido to use Hid lead from bot lane to be able to carry the game. So, good scouting by them. Let's see if that's enough to shut down Fourth Wall entirely.
Yeah, because I think the next question from me is, how do Fourth Wall respond? Jinray's is down, but Ragnar hasn't died himself, and Faye has survived this lane. Where does Yute want to be going to try and get his team back into this?
You ignore top for sure. That's not where it's at. I mean, no. I was thinking maybe with like Unstill Spellbook, like Ignite that you're seeing him sit on, maybe, but no, it's just not. It's just not to be at all. Like, you really do still have to figure it out around mid and bot, which just makes it really, really difficult. And I did say, you know, in the draft, like, if all things go the way that Nord want them to go, he should have a losing top of mid. He shouldn't have pressure in that. And the way that this game has been executed has very much been so. But he is level 6 now. Okay, he's got level 6. Flashes up on both Seneca and Hido. This could work here.
Yeah, but no cleanse available. Battle Dance gonna go away. Seneca the one gonna be locked down by the Glacial Prison Ignite, and here's back, but Kemera taking so much damage in return.
Nice.
1 for 1, but so many cooldowns burnt by Fourth Wall, and Hido can chase them down with the slows from the Frost Shot. Jinray moving over. Meaning that Nord decide against going any more aggressive, but Fourth Wall, they try and make a play in the bot lane, it gets turned around.
Not a big fan of that death, to be honest, from Seneca. I just think he had all the tools to survive that one and was a little bit greedy. He like flash healed right at the end when he was already dead, basically, and like Ignite ticking down him and stuff as well. A little bit tough, but Hido might find himself in trouble here as well if you're on a gold bounty.
Snap engage from Fourth Wall, and it had to be shut down for Yute, but the teleport through from Omen proves a horrible one for Yute as he's going to drop for a double for the Jace.
You could see a play on topside from this Nautilus now, though, right? And see this Herald area secure. That did put Hido pretty far behind. Let's see if they can make this work.
Still has the flash, is going to use it to get away. The Slicing Maelstrom coming down, stunning the Nautilus and Faye. And whilst it's a lot of tools used to get out from catch cost, he does get out.
So much has happened right there. If we're just going to take a look at it, the overall impact of the game. What sucks, a lot sucks there for Fourth Wall. The two biggest ones are Omen got 2 kills and Sejuani picked up the shutdown from Hido. Hido had a 300 gold bounty on him, so he was essentially worth 2 kills. You don't want a single kill going over to Sejuani, like that's just pretty much wasted. But the fact that it was that bounty as well, nah, that's no good. Omen also in return getting all those kills. It's looking very dire here. That Dustblade building into the Manamune as well, where it's just that pesky little blasting wand on the side of Jinwei. That is such an uneven itemization here. And here comes another dive for Nord.
Yeah, Fourth Wall not even able to get towards their tower, and Nord fumbled a dive at level 1, but this one significantly cleaner. Chimera living on borrowed time as Indecision, just waiting for the stun, flips him over his head. Is going to donate another kill over to Hido. 5-1 on the Ashe.
Wow.
Infernal. Herald on top side has been traded for Fourth Wall, so they're getting something from this, but Nord, they really needed that dive, right? Their composition, it does not scale well into the later stages of the game. They need to shut down Fourth Wall early. They need to keep them shut down. And Fourth Wall, they just want to try to make things more even. They're into a 5-1-2 Ashe now, and that 3-1-2 Jace though, so the game is on hard mode.
Wow.
Okay, and Cassante is just solo kills the Kennen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Catchcross, he had to use the flash, he had to use the slicing maelstrom to get out of the gank, and with neither of those available, does mean he's slightly easier for Fade to take down. Meanwhile, Yute has been caught out by Indecision in the mid lane. Nord basically deciding not to mess with Zesdrani because it would take too long to kill her.
It's a good solo kill on the top side, but I'm not sure it really influences the game a huge amount. I don't think K'Sante will be able to repeat that. Most likely when Catchcross has his ult and especially when Flash comes up as well. It's all about this bot side play here, and Nord now read the play and are going for the engage.
Magnet Storm into the double knock up Ragnar. The only AD carry in range to actually deal damage, and Indecision is going to get locked down. Second kill of the game for the Kaiser, who's going to feel good, but once again, Hido with the slows can just fire out arrows at will, but no! Gets too aggressive, but finally the kill comes from Ragnar. Will Killer Instinct for the shutdown, and now he's in a 1v2 with Seneca and Hido. Arrow comes out onto Chimera, and Hido just cannot stop getting kills. He'll donate this one over to Seneca, as it's just a case the Rakan diving forward and taking down the Nautilus.
You take that as Forfall 10 out of 10 times, though. That bounty from Jace onto Kai'Sa brings her to a breaking point, right? What you want on this Kai'Sa, and the reason the composition works so well, is that at some point she's going to be able to one-shot the Ashe. No matter how many kills the Ashe gets, she's not going to be able to sustain that damage. And if you can get Kai'Sa to that break point, it doesn't matter if the Ashe is 8-1 or if the Ashe is 0-1. If the Ashe is out of position, Kai'Sa kills her, Nico kills her. So they're going to take that 10 out of 10 times. Yeah, the Ashe is 7-1-3, but she's still in a very difficult composition. But my god, we've seen Hido carry Nord before, and he's in a good position to do it now.
Yeah, and this is the thing. We mentioned before, Ashe is going to have a tough time in this game just existing. Precisely as you mentioned, Veteran, it doesn't matter how many kills she's got, she doesn't become any harder to kill. And Forfall are not lacking ways to do that, right? They're not lacking ways to bring her into the Shadow Realm. So it could be hairy. It could be difficult here for Hido.
Seneca popping the Shirelia's flash engage. Not quite able to get the double knocker, but Ragnar is just chased down. Almost a solo kill for Hido, as every time Fourth will try and make an excursion into the bottom lane, they seem to die. And Hido is keeping on getting fed. This Ashe is going to the moon.
Yep.
This is such a big game as well. Sorry, go on.
Obviously, please, by all means. Please continue.
Well, it's if we're zooming out of this individual game and we look at like the overall impact of this specific one in the matchups, like for Nord, this is huge, right? They really need to prove that they're not. But before this season, this split gets just completely put in the bin and it all slips away from them, as it has been recently on that big lose streak that they found themselves in right now, especially with how well their spring went. Playing a team with the equal standings, both of these guys 4 and 6. And especially a team like Forthall, who is on the up. This is such a big game for Nord to win. Probably so far the biggest game of the split for these guys. Like, I don't think any other game means as much. Not only just in the standings, but kind of from a morale standpoint as well, right? You need to still be able to prove to yourselves, if no one else, that you're good enough to compete and get a playoff spot.
And especially, yeah, it's the last 2 weeks of the split. If you're going to pick a time to win games, it's going to be now. And Nord, they've got 14 kills in 14 minutes, and they've put themselves in a great position to win this game. I've already mentioned that the lead is potentially vulnerable on Hido, but I think it's key that Nord have made this game not about mid lane. Yes, they were able to shut down Jinrays in the early, but so much of their attention has been towards countering Forthall aggression on the bot side that there really isn't a huge carry available for Forthall at the moment.
Oh, the hitbox of the minion. Oh, that is juicy. If you're not too familiar with the inner machinations of the madness of Nico, obviously she transforms into different things, and that's not only useful as like a little sneaky deaky play, but your hitbox changes too, right? And minions have a significantly smaller hitbox than champions do, so that Ashe doesn't actually hit her. So that was crazy right there.
All eyes on Hido. He is the man of the match for Nord. He has carried them before on the Xayah, yet to do so on the Ashe, but this game, he is the man that has to dodge absolutely everything, just become the one in this matrix that Nord have to break out of to claim their 5th win. And if he's able to do that, able to output his damage and not just deliver a bounty over to the Kaiser, then Nord are going to be able to win this game. They have managed to play this early game to their objectives. They're not in the position Domino were in at this point. The game is insanely winnable for Nord. They are in the lead.
Chimera with a hook onto Indecision, and Ragnar still has enough damage to burst through the rail. Seneca with the ult, the dash over the wall to get away, and we have a pause, gentlemen.
Dramatic. Okay. We see Indecision falling down there. I wonder what that pause would be about. I'm assuming it's probably from Nord, and maybe something that impacted Indecision's death right there. But we'll have more information, more in the story as it develops. But yeah, you know, Nord are in a really solid spot. They were up until that play, but still 4th wall showing signs of life, which is very important, very good. Not just rolling over and dying. And you know, we mentioned Jinrei's at the beginning of the game a lot, obviously. And he had a pretty terrible start. You know, he got killed twice. It was really difficult. But if you take a look at the CS numbers, the fact that he's still able to keep up in this game has been really impressive. And he will still be that threat as this game goes on.
Yeah, a lot of this is because Oman translated the lead that he was able to acquire level 1 and onwards in mid lane in towards bot lane, right? He was present on so many of those dives and counter dives on bot, playing around Hiddo. The whole team, really, with the possible exception of Catchcoast, who has simply kept Faye in his lane, has played around Hiddo to get in this lead. So I'd say it's worth that death to Kaiser. Obviously, that could come back to haunt them later on. But overall, Jinrei did make the right choice in terms of how he played the economy mid lane around that. He's managed to drag his way back into this game. That's because Nord's put everything in the Hiddo basket, and that has served them well in the past. Maybe it serves them well again. And worth noting, it's the nerf Nico, right? Which also makes me wonder, Jinrei, buddy, have we not really adapted our champ pool? Is this really it for us? Are we going to have to see on these 2 champions? Because then you're going to be beholden to Riot Freak, and that's not really something anyone wants to be beholden to.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. You don't want to be at the whims of the balance team to determine whether or not you are going to be able to function in pro. I like the 4th wall, able to take the mid lane tower there. It feels like Nord kind of dropping the ball a little bit, allowing that Rift Tower charge to come through. But if they can get an engage here, they're going to be A-okay. Ragnar going to get pulled in by the Magnet Storm, knocked into the skies as well. But the damage isn't following up from 4th wall. Jinrei gets to beat that massive Pop Blossom, but Omen one-shots Chimera. Catch Cost with the ult. Double kill for the cannon. Ace for Nord. No one dies.
Wow, that was a really good engage there from Nord. Even the flank from Jinrei with that TP almost salvaging that fight. Does catch Hiddo, and he's the MVP, right? You got to bring him down. Couldn't quite do it. Didn't have enough damage. A wombo from Nord proved to be too strong. They're going to win the team fight. They're going to get that tower. All things looking good for Nord.
Yep, and the full combo was not able to come out because Jace, Omen specifically, was able to stick on top of Ragnar, prevent him getting on top for the rest of his team to try to get that last little bit of burst down, so no big player was able to be made. It was the correct call from Nord to go for that fight in the first place. If they were going to lose out on the map here, the only way to drag that back is with a team fight. They're in the lead. They can't afford to just wait for a later point in the game, and so they go straight for it. It paid huge dividends there. Well played by everyone involved. But shout outs to Omen there for keeping Kaiser from being able to follow up on the Jinrei engage, which could have been huge.
Dude, you said it. You said it, veteran, mate. All eyes on Omen. He's a player to watch, right? And this is why. Because he's...
Yeah.
He's crazy.
The Church of Omen, right? Yeah. That's what we were talking about pre-game, right?
Yeah.
He is critical for their wins, though, and has been the whole time. The entire question with Nord is always going to be, is this a good day for mid-jungle? And today looks to be a good day for mid-jungle.
Lovely day for mid-jungle here. Aside from Indecision having to play Rel, I'm sure he's not too happy about that one, but I suppose he'll take the win, as it looks like Nord is setting up for that with 7,000 gold plus in their favor here. Really juicy stuff. That's the second dragon as well. It will be that Hextech Soul if we even get to that point. To me, though, all eyes going to be around this barren area. We've got 30 seconds until it spawns. Teams are going to want to try and control that with some vision, but you know, Nord with such a huge lead, can certainly just walk around there, sweep it down, get the vision, and then you've got to wonder, what does Fourth Wall do? Like, what's the response if the Baron area is dark, if it's all blind? Because you can't check it unless you've got like Kaiser W, like a 20-second cooldown. And if you do face check, the Rakan comes out of nowhere, the Rel comes out of nowhere, the Ash Arrow, you know, the poke from Jace as well. It's so difficult to navigate Fog of War if you're Fourth Wall, and they might just be giving it up here, giving up this area of the map. Stuck between a rock and a hard place now, and we'll see how they can navigate.
If Shinray's able to get a pick, able to get a big Pop Blossom, then maybe that's an angle, but he's not even got his second item yet on the Nico, so really the primary damage source on Fourth Wall at the moment is Ragnar, and there's a little bit of an AD carry diff going on right now, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it's even Ragnar's fault. Hito is just way too strong at the moment, and this is what Nord could do. You could just stand next to the Baron. Kachkos is always going to have priority in that side lane. Faye's going to have to check that, and as they match, that's going to give an opportunity to Nord.
I'm just disappointed. They've not done a good job of sweeping this vision at all. You can have complete control of this area. No one is stopping you. And finally, they are gonna, you know, get that ward in the river, one in the bush there as well. I do really think this is such a favourable position here for Nord. A push as well from Kachkos now coming up. Faye is following. Chimera's caught.
Yeah, and a lone Nautilus is an easy target. Has to flash, won't even be able to Spider-Man hook himself away. One off the board. Is that enough for Nord to start up the Baron?
This is how Domino wanted to be playing last game, right? Split the enemy team by playing free pressure. They have Jace holding Nico on top side. They have Kennen forcing the Cassante towards bot side, and in those splits they can make their catches in enemy jungle. They don't have to team fight them, they just catch them out one by one using their pressure. Fourth Wall are the ones that have to find the fight.
I mean, Yute hasn't really been pulled away from. Charm onto 2 with the knock-up there. Indecision going back over the wall to pick onto Faye, and the Baron resets. Nord, though, spent a little bit too long on that bait, and so will reset, spend their gold.
I think Fourth will be okay with that one. They push Nord off of the Baron. Not going to have that one go down just yet, but if you're Nord, it's really just a rinse and repeat here. Again, go back to this Baron area. You put the vision down, you sweep it, you get rid of everything that Fourth Wall is setting up here, and you just do the exact same. You saw that Fourth Wall, I said they didn't have any ways for them to really face check Fog of War or just navigate Fog of War in any meaningful way, and that's exactly how Chimera died, right? He walked into Fog of War to try and see what was going on, and he died. And then you just don't have to stop this ever. You know, you just keep doing it, and as the game goes on, you can actually start taking Dragon as well, and like you're really close to getting the Dragon's Soul. Like it's just so difficult here if you're Fourth Wall, and Nord are really in such a powerful position in this game.
And every death puts you behind, not just in gold, but by being dead, your team can't come out on the map and extend further. So Nord were able to get out onto the map first, Jace was able to push bot all the way out, top was pushed by Kennen all the way out, and Nord are in the Baron pit before Fourth Wall could ever group.
Omen nearly getting caught out in the mid lane there, but he's going to be fine.
Nice.
Guerrero's going to get a hook, ignite on him as well. Nord have already taken away the Baron, they're going to opt into the fight as well. One-shotting the Nautilus as Faye rotating over. He's not going to be able to block that arrow. Seneca coming over the wall. Indecision joining him. Nord bringing more members and more gold to the party. Getting 2 more kills for Hado.
Chimera, a very aggressive player, but his aggression was met by a stopwatch, one of the worst feelings in the world, and then the kill on him makes the Jace untargetable. No way to terminate that Jace. Nord, they get the Baron, they get the kills. They're only getting incremental slow wins, but it's a win every single time, and Fourth Wall are unable to find the fight that could get them back control of the map. Remember, the only way for Fourth Wall to be able to get control of the map again, to not just see a black jungle and black side lanes and a black mid lane off of it and a black river off of that, is to win a fight, and they have to win that fight in total darkness. Nord full control of the game, and they're not giving it up.
Yeah, not unlike Pluto, everything black. And yeah, there's the copium that Omen, Hito, and Kachkos technically aren't getting any tankier with the items that they're building. But the issue is, they're going to one-shot you before you could even get your damage down.
I love how you say that, and literally, the second you said that,
Gets
Hiddo
GA.
buys GA. Yeah. You could not have timed that better if you tried. But no, it's very true, honestly. It's just, and even these base stats, you have to remember as well, as champions level up, they get around 1,000 gold worth of stats, and that does include things like health and resistances. So, yeah, it's not looking good here. We've already seen Ragnar fall. It's going to fall as well. That's 2 members dead, and now Nord at the pick of the litter here. They've got Baron buff, they've got all their members alive. The whole map is their oyster. It's going to be barreling down top all the time, being a little bit in the mid as well. It's so hard for Fourth Wall to defend this one. I don't think they can do it.
Yeah, no wave clear available as Jinray going back to base. The inhib tower, a casualty of this push. The inhib on the top side maybe as well as Indecision and Hiddo focus down the mid lane inhibitor. Ragnar going to be on the board right now, but doesn't feel like there's anything that Fourth Wall can do to stop this push. So Nord will take down the structures and they'll back away.
I mean, Nord, they came into this game with a plan, didn't they? Right? They said, we're not going to let Jinray play the game. And before minions even spawned, they put their plan into action. And off of that, they're like, okay, now we will transfer that lead on towards Hiddo on the bot lane. And they did it. But crucially, they do this all as, so long as you're of the opinion top laners aren't real and don't actually exist, did it as a team, right? And in doing so, they've managed to get themselves this. And this win is looking very clean. It's not looking perfect, but it is looking very, very clean. They haven't given up control of the map at all ever since they took control of it. None of them are getting individually caught out. They aren't winning super hard acceleratingly, but they're not really a big 5-on-5 team. So they'll take this. They'll catch Ute out as much as they want. This is going to be his 8th death. There you go. This is going to be his 8th death. And, you know, incremental wins are still a win.
Yeah, Chimera going for a last ditch engage in the bottom lane, but Hiddo takes basically no damage at all. In dives Ragnar, but he gets stunned by Catchcross. You just can't kill the Ashe. Faye will try, but he will die. A double for Hiddo. How many times have I said that this game? And with Jinray the only one left alive, those towers are soon to fall.
Hiddo's been pocketing all the kills this game. Fourth Wall have been throwing everything in the kitchen, sinking in, but they've just lacked a little bit of damage. It's the might of the wallet this time around, that 15,000 gold lead for Nord, culminating in a very dominant victory, putting themselves firmly in that playoff position here, and remnants of their previous splits. The greatness of Nord that we know they can do.